welcome to episode 11 of the Red Mountain Express. I'm your host, Blake Westbrook. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Matthew Joyner. Mr. Joyner, how was your weekend?
It was good, man. I'm, 2 days into a 3-day weekend, so I'm feeling really good. We got tomorrow off.
I know.
Welcome vacation, Labor Day. Thank you, local unions and labor workers.
How you feeling about episode 11?
Feeling good. How about you?
I feel really good about it. I mean, most podcasts go to 10. This one
goes
goes to 11.
Thank you, Spinal Tap.
We watched Spinal Tap, or a clip of Spinal Tap before we started this podcast, so we felt the need to at least quote it.
So let's do this thing then. What you got? What'd you do this weekend? What's going on?
Well, we had a family come into town. My wife's sister and her husband and their kids are staying with us until the early hours of Monday morning. They came in on Friday afternoon, and they actually went downtown to Uptown to the UAB house party where Sam Hunt, who is a former UAB quarterback and probably one of the, I guess, is he one of the biggest country stars right now?
I think, yeah, currently, maybe. I'm not really into country right now. I go in and out, so I don't keep up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, apparently they had like about 25,000 people downtown. They said it was really, really enjoyable. They said they were shocked at how many people were actually in downtown Birmingham.
And this was at Uptown, right?
Right, this is at Uptown. So that happened. He's actually kind of did some reading on Sam Hunt. He played football at UAB back in 2006 and actually graduated from UAB, taught himself how to play guitar after practice, and now he's a country music star. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's cool. What else? So we got football this weekend. You watched?
I did, but did you not notice it was fall? It felt like fall.
No, it felt great. I went outside yesterday morning, and it felt great outside. Like
I had coffee on my back porch. It was wonderful. And then we grilled some burgers, had some Conecuh sausage, watched some football. Now, did you go to the UAB game?
All right, so I need to apologize. I made a mistake. I thought the tickets we had were for this opening game. Our tickets are for the game on the 16th, which is versus Coastal, yeah. Coastal, is it North Carolina?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
Possible.
So that's the game we're going to. I made a mistake. I was wrong and then was really excited about going, and Thursday night we were talking about it, and Laura's like, no, that's for
so it's
2
not
weeks
so
from
it's
now.
not your fault.
Well, it's not anybody's fault. I just made a mistake. I was
you
wrong.
Just said that Laura told you.
No, she told me because she knew what was going
So
on,
it's not
and I
Laura's
didn't.
fault.
No,
Okay,
she's just smarter than I am.
I wanted to clear that up when Laura listens to this, that we know it's
She
not
was
her
never
fault.
in the wrong. I was the idiot. It's usually how it goes.
Well, on that point, UAB did return to the football field for the first time in 3 years, and they ended up defeating Alabama A&M 38-7 in front of a record crowd of 45,212.
Right, yeah.
Which is really, really good. I saw pictures, and the first picture I saw coming out of Legion Field, they showed, I think, the Alabama A&M side or where most of their fans were sitting, and I was like, oh, please tell me there was a turnout. But then they turned the camera around, and, I mean, that other side was packed.
Yeah, that was
That's
huge.
a really, really huge thing. I just want to tell every UAB fan, for God's sakes, keep going to football games.
Yep.
You know, you're given a second chance. Please go. But, I mean, it was really good. They also had a really good moment before the game. Timothy Alexander, who was he was a high school prospect who was paralyzed in a car accident. It's a really, really moving story.
I remember that story.
He had to learn how to walk and speak again, and he started working out at UAB and going to school there, and knowing he was a prospect, they actually put him on full scholarship, and now I think he works at UAB as a character development or something. So he brought the game ball out of the field, was helped by some physical therapists, and actually walked a couple steps to bring the football out to midfield. It was a really moving experience. So if you haven't seen that, go online. It's everywhere. Something you should check out.
That's a cool moment. All right, so that's UAB. How did Alabama do?
Alabama did very, very well. Defeated Florida State 24-7. It was a good game, pretty close. Alabama pulled away at the end, but glad to see them get the opening win. And it was at that new Mercedes Stadium, which is huge. You saw it on TV right next to the Georgia Dome, and it's mammoth. But I've heard some people were kind of mixed on their reviews of it. Some people were like, It's like the Georgia Dome, but with a new exterior. So I don't know. I haven't been there. I've just seen it like when it was being built, and it looked pretty nice to me.
Yeah. How do you feel about Alabama going forward?
I think they're going to be pretty good. I mean, I think there's a lot of holes in the offensive line that probably need to get plugged. But first game, it's hard to really tell, especially because Florida State had a really good defense.
Yeah.
And their quarterback, who got injured at the very end of the game, I hate that because Francois is a really good quarterback. They had a really good offense, have a really good defense, so I think it's kind of hard to measure how good you are against someone like that. But, I mean, measured it pretty well. Defense shut them down at the end of the ball game. We got some turnovers and ended up winning the ball game. So,
Sweet, yeah.
Yeah, how did Auburn do? I know you're an Auburn fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big stats person, so I don't want to get into like all the nuances and things, but Auburn played a pretty good game against Georgia Southern and did pretty well. Their defense did great. Offense, I don't know, I want to say average, but we'll see how they look going forward. I think we had something like around 104 passing yards, and I think our rushing yards was maybe 351, somewhere around there. So that's pretty good.
New quarterback at Auburn, right?
New quarterback. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to remain our starter or if this was just like hey, let's throw him in for the first game.
I think that the coach has said that he's going to be the starter going forward, and I think he had a pretty good game from what I read.
It wasn't bad. It could have been better. I know he had a fumble. He threw a pick. All little things that can be corrected. And hopefully will be. So maybe just, bad luck. People have bad games sometimes, but, you don't want your first game on the field against Georgia Southern to be, your bad game.
And they can be a very tricky team. Georgia Southern runs what they call the triple option, which is not run by a lot of colleges, but they do a lot of cut blocking and a lot of pitches to the outside, and it can cause fits for some folks.
Well, and their season last year was pretty good, all things considered. I mean, they came out and beat some teams that were impressive. So overall, again, not a stats person. I'm terrible at keeping up with names and things. I'm just a typical, or not typical, I'm a lazy fan. I think we look good. I'm excited to see what we look like the rest of the season.
Well, what you got on the news front for us, Matthew? I know you're talking about a new construction project that's going to be going on 459.
Yeah, one of the bigger stories, I guess, that caught my eye this week is in Hoover, within Jefferson County limits. But there's a new development going up called Stadium Trace Village. It's going to be on Highway 150 and 459. Kind of like, if you're familiar with the area, you have a Target shopping center there, and then across the road is a Sprouts and a UAB West. And then across 459 from that, on the same side of the road is where Sprouts and there's a Starbucks, whatever, all right there, is this new Stadium Trace Village.
So it's going to be on the same side with the Starbucks and the Sprouts
The same side of the road, but across 459.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Sorry if that doesn't make
sense.
sense.
On the Hoover Met side of...
Yes,
okay.
yes. Yeah. So it's supposed to be a 44-acre shopping center.
Wow.
They're talking about having like a 70,000 square foot experiential retail store, which I had to kind of look up and read the story a little bit closer to figure out what that meant. And they talked about it being something like a Bass Pro Shop. He said it was in the same category as a Bass Pro Shop, but was smaller than that. So now we've got there's an Academy on 150 further down.
There's a Field and Stream. There's a Dick's, which is part of the Field and Stream family.
Right.
Or vice versa.
So I don't know what else they could be talking about when they say it's kind of like a Bass Pro Shop, but smaller. So that's curious. But 70,000 square feet, that's a pretty good size retail store.
Absolutely. And then what else do they have going in there?
They said they're going to do an organic grocery store, which, again, we've already got a Sprouts right there.
There used to be an Earth Fair over there, but
there was an Earth Fair, and it's gone now.
Right.
Further down at the end of 150, kind of, I think it's on Data Drive, there's a Whole Foods that should be opening sometime soon. So that's interesting. And then a 40,000 square foot medical center, which again, you've got UAB West right there, the ER. So I'm not sure what this 40,000 square foot medical center is going to be. A 35,000 square foot village with shops and restaurants. And then, of course, some out parcels for hotels and further expansion. So this is a pretty big project.
So what's your initial thoughts on it?
I think it's cool. That's a
growth
area.
Is good.
Growth is good. This is in Jefferson County, so that's good for Jefferson County. That area right there on 150 and 459 has a few stores. I think they do really well. There's a lot of people that live like in the Bluff Park. What's the neighborhood right next to Bluff Park? Drawing a blank. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Hoover.
Yeah, there's a few residential areas right there. You've also got further down the road up 150.
Bessemer down that area as well. I'll tell you
Ross
this.
Bridge.
Yeah, Ross Bridge.
Ross Bridge.
I will say this. When I used to come to Birmingham, everybody knows the podcast, I'm not originally from Birmingham, but when I used to come here for Christmas every year, because my cousin lives in the Bluff Park area, we'd get off on that exit that he's talking about. And I remember there used to be nothing there. And now you've slowly started seeing that being developed. So I think this is kind of just the next step in the process being developed. I will say this. I really kind of want some more details. What's going to be there? Organic food store. I mean, at some point, the market's going to be saturated in that area, and you don't want to see something closed down, and then you have a big office space.
Right, especially with the Sprouts and a Whole Foods within, I don't know, 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
In Target right there, you've got a Publix on 150 pretty close. I don't know. It seems like a lot, but I'm sure they've done their market research more than I have, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens up there. I think the hotels will get used to pretty full effect. So, cool.
Well, let's get some more details. Let's kind of find out what's going to go there. But growth is always good. Well, let's take a little break, Matthew, and when we come back, we'll have Will Haver. Will is the owner of Odie's and the founder of Taco Mama. We were glad to have him on, and we sat down with him for about a good long interview. But first, let's hear from our friends over at Beach & Woodworks. We'll be right back. Beach & Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and K&M Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beach & Woodworks creates affordable, quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach & Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express. Our guest on the show today is Will Haver. Will is the owner of the popular Birmingham-based restaurant Taco Mama. They have expanded their first store in Crestline Village to 8 locations around Alabama, with more coming soon. And we're glad to have him on the show. Will, thanks for being here.
Hey, man. Thanks for the invite.
We really appreciate it. Before we get started, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what is your Birmingham story?
Yeah. All right. So I grew up in Birmingham, in the city of Mountain Brook, and my mom was an interior designer and operated her own small business for 40-something years, Haver and Company. And my dad was an educator. He was headmaster of Altamont School and then became vice president of Publishers Warehouse with EBSCO. So I grew up here, went to Altamont and then to John Carroll, and from there went to college at Alabama. So there you have it.
And so now you're in the hospitality business.
Yeah. So, started when I was in school in Tuscaloosa and started serving tables at Ezel's Catfish Cabin because Mom and Dad.
Right there on 15th Street, man.
Yeah. Mom and Dad said, you got to get a job. And so they were the first to give me a job. And I had a servant's heart to begin with. But Pam and Joe Ezel certainly showed me the restaurant business, and I became the manager of there, and it just went on from there.
Have you been to the original one in Anaphala?
I have, in Butler, in Anaphala, the fish camp.
It's
been
really
there
good.
Since 1937. It's a pretty cool place.
So what made you want to start Taco Mama? Why that genre? I mean, why tacos?
Yeah, well, also owned Odie's.
Odie's.
So, me and my wife, Lee, had our first child, Sam, and, I think like every new dad feels the pressure of how I'm going to make more money. And, we had success with Odie's. Odie's was an institution to begin with, and we just got in there because we knew the establishment very well and knew the people. It was a natural progression for me, so we got in there and worked. And then through wanting to do another concept, a concept of my own, we did a Taco Mama in Crestline Village, which was about 100 yards from Odie's, just to try to make more income for your family, And so from there, zero money, just tried to, piecemeal it together, and it's a true hole-in-the-wall taqueria. But I had traveled a lot, on the West Coast and saw these burrito shops. And, through my travels, I thought those were really cool. And so we really wanted to do something that was fun, but also had a lot of feel and a hole-in-the-wall experience. And, man, I love tacos, and everybody, I hope everybody else does. I haven't met too many people that don't like tacos or quesadillas or burritos or whatever.
Well, if they don't like tacos, there's something wrong with them.
That's how I feel. I'm glad to hear you say that.
Do you feel like owning and operating Odie's, it prepared you for Taco Mama? Was there a correlation there?
100%. What really, came out of Odie's is the value of people. Odie's is so hands-on, and we really wanted to create something where we could rein it in and perform the task consistently. Mm-hmm. So, through that experience with Odie's, we knew that we had to have a valuable team. That's what we've always had with Odie's, and so we're our company is a people-focused company and then a P&L responsible company. You know, a lot of restaurants are P&L focused first, but we're people-focused first. And what that means is, you know, you take care of the team, we pay well, we're always looking for great talent, and then we develop people, you know. And so through that, you know, turns into happy guests. You know, it's kind of the formula.
And what's P&L? Sorry.
Profit and loss statements.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's not all about the bottom line with us as much as it is just making people happy. You know,
Gotcha.
we say yes to guests. You know, it's an example. You know, we talk about going the extra 3 miles, and you know, had a family come in and a son wanted ketchup for something, and we didn't have ketchup in house, but one of our great servers went across the street and got ketchup packets. And you know, so it's going the extra mile. We call it the extra 3 miles. You know, try to give the great experience to the guests, because they have many options out there, as y'all know.
Yeah.
You take care of your customers, they'll take care of you.
100%. Build relationships.
Yeah.
You know, we're very community oriented, and take care of the community as much as we can and get involved.
Is that what you would say that makes Taco Mama unique, is kind of the way you do business?
Yeah, there's many things that play into it. You know, we really look at it as you're sitting on the back of a deep sea fishing boat, and there's many lines in the water that draw you in, and it all comes and plays together to create the perfect guest experience. And one, obviously, is our fantastic food, but also two, the people element. You know, the service side of it. You know, even though we're fast casual, we really take a full service approach to it. You know, we're really looking in from the eyes of the guest and seeing how we can make their experience better. But then also too, the decor plays, you know, to the lighting plays, to we handpick all our music. So everything comes to combine to deliver that perfect guest experience.
That's awesome. I had no idea you handpicked the music. That's a good
Yeah,
touch.
music's a big thing. You know,
Yeah.
when we talk about feel, you know, you eat with your eyes, you know, your ears, obviously your mouth. So all of it comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. And you mentioned community, and Blake mentioned that you're in 8 locations now. So you're involved in several different, like, I guess, smaller communities that make up Birmingham. Have you been surprised by the success and the acceptance in those communities with Taco Mama?
No. I mean, you know, when we started Taco Mama, it was not a vision of having, you know, growth or having multiple restaurants. It totally just kind of, you go down a path, and you know, the response from the communities was amazing. And so every community that we go into, we really entrench ourselves in the community. You know, we want to take care of the schools and the nonprofits in that community. It's kind of our focus.
And how does that look on a practical level? You say you want to help the nonprofits of schools?
Yeah. It's not very practical. You know, it's you got to want to give, you know, but at the same time, we feel like it comes back to us tenfold. And so, you know, we talk about, you know, doing it with a genuine spirit. Mm-hmm. You know, we really are not wanting anything out of it. We just we know what we want to support and the things we believe in, and so we kind of stick to those values.
So is there a Taco Mama Foundation, or how do people get involved with that? Or?
Yeah, there's not a Taco Mama Foundation, but we do things like what we call Spirit Night, where we'll take a nonprofit organization, let them promote a night, which is usually on a Monday night, and then we'll do 10% of the sales back to the nonprofit.
Wow, that's great.
You know, or we'll do, you know, anything to do with schools and kids, because I've got a 10-year-old, 8-year-old,
Right.
and we see a lot of value in that. So we just jump in and do whatever the community asks us to do.
Okay.
Was there a point when you had opened the first location that you realized that you had something special going on at Taco Mama?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the first month, the response was huge, and so we knew that we had something special. And it was, you know, when you're doing that, there's such a period of time that you're trying to, you know, shore up your operations. You know, so you're just focused on what you're doing there, because it's not easy. And I've been in this business 22 years now, and so, you know, when you have a response like that, yeah, you're very proud, and you obviously understand that it has some legs, but at the same time, you're not equipped yet to even think about a second location. It's more just taking care of what you got.
Well, moving from that, you have that location in Crestline Village, and then moving out to another location. At what point did you say, okay, we can expand now, we're comfortable expanding, or was that just kind of a fluid situation?
No, yeah, it happened naturally. You know, I guess after 3 years of being in business, we thought we'd like to try another one, and we went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because knew the lay of the land there very well. And so you from there you're totally going down the path, and you're nervous and you're scared, and you you're still not thinking, oh, we're going to stamp this out everywhere. You're just hoping to have success again and repeat it. So we went down and did that. We found the perfect location there. It was an old warehouse that we retrofitted to be a Taco Mama, and so the response from day one, I think we had something like 75 people lined up to get in, and we had done zero marketing.
Wow.
And so,
Golly.
so it's been kind of that experience, and I knock on wood all the time. I hope this is wood that I'm sitting at, but we just
It looks like wood.
We'll go with it anyway. We just feel fortunate, and so that's kind of it naturally progressed.
So, I guess from a business point of view or from a personal point of view, what have been some of the challenges in opening the first Taco Mama and then opening the expanded, locations?
Yeah, well, you're doing it with a small team, and operationally, you're taking care of two babies at that time, and so you're wearing a lot of hats as a small business owner. Anyway, you wear a lot of hats, but you really have to not have any give up any, because there's many challenges, and when you're in the restaurant business and you're seeking perfection, it can be exhausting, mentally and physically. So, the biggest challenge was, finding great people that you could trust that would buy into your vision and into your core values and your culture and believe in what you're doing. And we found those people, and that's really, the people is what really made us successful.
Well, the food's also made you successful. So my question to you is, is there any particular items on the menu that kind of your favorite?
Yeah, the barbacoa is I have a lot of pride in that, because we slow roast that for 8 hours, and it's just tender. And most people don't know what barbacoa is. I mean, it's braised beef, and so once you get that in their mouth, they're like, it becomes their new favorite. But that's certainly my favorite. But if you could see me now, which I know your listeners can't, I don't turn down many meals. So asking me, which flavor I like is a tough answer for me. But barbacoa is definitely up there.
Sure. So me and Blake have talked about it on a previous episode, and I know several of our listeners are familiar with the subject. The ABC board in Alabama, they recently banned margarita pitchers in restaurants, and then about a week later they came back on that. And I believe that margarita pitchers, margaritas in general at Taco Mama, they're well-crafted drinks, and I imagine they probably make up a not insignificant portion of sales.
Yeah.
So with that decision, when it came down, what was your reaction to that? Did you have a backup plan? How?
Yeah, no, we did not have a backup plan. A lot of people don't want to hear this, but when you're dealing in the restaurant business with the ABC board really is there to protect the service, the responsible service of alcohol. And we've always kind of taken that approach. The same thing with the health department for us. They're there for a reason. We don't fight that. We try to get along with the program and do things right.
Sure.
When we did Pitchers of Margarita, we did not know at the time that we were not within the law. If you read the way the law is written, we fully felt like we were within the law, and the law was not clearly written. And what happened to us was, we would get some visits from some ABC agents, and they would tell us, hey, in a very nice way, you can't serve pitchers of margaritas. And we didn't really understand that because we saw other restaurants doing it. And so, but you have an agent telling you that, so we quickly stopped serving pitchers. But through that, we presented a case to the ABC board and said, hey, we don't feel like the law is written that clearly. We think that we're within our right, and kudos to them. They read it and agreed with us and said, and I thought that was huge on their part, is that really they were pro-business, and really, they could have easily said, no, the law is the law, and that'd be that. They took the stance that we think you've got a good point here, and so they really went up the food chain and got to the higher ups, and they rewrote the law. During that time, there was an article that came out and mentioned Taco Mama, and that couldn't serve margarita pitchers, and it was an opinion piece that. Really the ABC, board looked at us like, Will, why are you throwing us under the bus? Yeah. Because we're working with you here, and I had to quickly tell them, hey, it's not us. Y'all have been great. So, it was never that we were against the ABC board, and they know that. And it was more, I really more give them credit for, running it up the food chain and exploring it, and they changed the law.
That's, from a consumer point of view, it's easy to see just that outside view of it. Like ABC is the bad guy, or
right.
Looking at, I think it was Cameron Smith's opinion piece at AL.com, and really siding with him and what he was saying there. But and really, it seemed like a really short period of time, maybe just a couple of days that this was all happening. It seemed very dramatic.
Right.
But for you on the inside, I guess it happened over a longer period
months
of time.
and months and months and months, and that was, he was correct in his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my opinion and others' opinions, the issue was, you can go up and order multiple drinks as long as you don't show any visible signs of intoxication. We're within the law to serve you.
Right.
Why couldn't you put that in the picture? The ABC's point of view, which is right, is that, if, for example, you set a tea urn of pre-made margaritas, as time goes on, the alcohol sinks to the bottom. And so if you get a pitcher of margaritas, then you may get more alcohol content than the other person, and that was their concern. But in a pitcher with the ounces that we're actually serving, I think they felt that it was being consumed quick enough that would not be an issue. Yeah. So,
and I will go on the record saying that whenever we're at Taco Mama and have a margarita pitcher, it does not sit on the table that long.
We hope not. Anyway,
they go down very smooth.
If they do, then we're certainly quickly coming over there going, is everything made okay? Yeah. So,
what years were you in Tuscaloosa?
94 to 98.
So was Cheap Shots open when you were in Tuscaloosa?
No, not that I know of, but I worked a lot too during that time.
So you understand, like I was telling the story when this issue came to light. I was like, man, there was a place called Cheap Shots in Tuscaloosa, and they sold liquor pitchers. I mean, how they didn't get dinged for this back then is beyond me. But I never gave it two thoughts until I saw the story in the news, and so we felt the need to ask for it. And also, when I saw it, I was like, there's going to be a revolt at Taco Mama, because I know everybody that goes to Taco Mama is like, we'll get a margarita pitcher with some tacos and just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, and and the thing for the ABC board as well is, laws that they can enforce. They're limited with agents.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And they're not there to rain down on you. So, I'm glad they changed it. We're very thankful. When we brought it back, we definitely saw a big standing ovation for that. Yeah. But, we had squelched it, and it was a scary period for us, but we didn't see any dip off. I think, because we service your table margaritas anyway, so you could get multiple margaritas, without a pitcher.
Right.
Well, speaking of drinks, so if you're not at Odie's or not at Taco Mama, where are you going to get a drink in Birmingham?
Oh my goodness, man!
Besides your back porch.
Totally. That loaded question, but I'm a restaurant guy and a bar guy, and so I just left a meeting with a bunch of restaurateurs, and I was at Brick and Tin last night. Mauricio, does a great job, but then Dram to going downtown. I go to the breweries, good people a lot, Avondale. So, there's the thing that I think people don't understand about Birmingham, I'm sure y'all do, is we're really spoiled here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
The institutions here. I've traveled. We do business in other states, and I've seen what's to offer there, and really here it's ridiculous how many great establishments we have. So I'm eating out and drinking all the time, unfortunately or fortunately. So.
So what do you think is next for Taco Mama? You've got the 8 locations. You've got a few more under construction right now?
Yes.
So those are coming up soon. Is there anything else? Are you planning more locations? Are you planning more menu expansions? What's up next?
Yeah, the menu, we just introduced 3 new margaritas. We did a blood orange margarita and a Prosecco Fizz and the real deal that we're calling. So we try to keep it fresh on that end, but we just did a menu change there. So we're holding pat for now. What we're looking at is just following our path, and right now that path is taking us to Hillsborough Village in Nashville, so we're excited about that, and then Greensboro, North Carolina, in Lonsdale. So we're just, and then we've got 7th Avenue South in UAB opening up.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, and so that's any day now. So. That's all we've got on our plate, which is enough for now. I'm trying to stay married, and my kids know who I am and have a good relationship there. So we've got enough going on.
Now, those locations out of state, are those the first 2 locations out of state? Or
those are the first 2. Yeah,
wow,
it was a big step. Well, thank you. It was and it happened very grassroots as well, where. Had a buddy of mine that was doing a development in Hillsborough Village and said, I think y'all would do great here. I think Hillsborough Village is the right feel for y'all's grassroots mentality. And went there, really didn't want to do it, but it just happened.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
Well, congratulations on your success.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being on the podcast with us.
Thanks for having me.
We're both big fans of your establishments. So.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Red Mountain Express. Again, we'd like to thank Will Haver, our guest of Taco Mama and Odie's Tavern. Be sure to check them out at one of their 8 locations across Alabama, and hopefully, and soon to be Nashville and Greensboro, correct?
That's right, yeah.
You can check them out at tacomamaonline.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app, and please take a minute to rate and review us on the iTunes page. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for any and all updates. For Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. This has been the Red Mountain Express, and we'll see you next week.